So I'm curious about mermaids. Yeah, I'm worried. I'm thinking like maybe there's Bigfoot in the ocean, integrated within the natural ocean environment, man harmonized with the ocean. So is it possible, Ryan, Mr. Bigfooter, to have someone in the ocean, kind of like a man or human, kind of like we talk about with Bigfoot in the woods? Is it possible? Have you heard anything about mermaids? Do you know anything about it? I know nowhere where to start. Like, all I can think about is Pirates of the Caribbean and, Disney movies. Is it real?
Well, it depends on who you ask, and it depends on where your knowledge base comes from. Because if you look at old maps, like especially around the Arabian Peninsula, you will see mermen and merwomen. And if you go back and listen to sailors, they'll talk about them calling to them from the rocks, luring them in after months at sea, and they're all horned up, and they hear these beautiful sirens singing, and they go towards them, and then what ends up? They end up being smashing on the rocks and being devoured, right? Or is it all metaphors? Is it just, a way to scare people from leaving the comfort and the safety of their communities / their control systems, because being a sailor back in the day, you hear about the mighty Kraken, and you hear about mere women that are going to lure you to your death on the rocks. Like, it makes you less inclined to explore, but that's what sets Homo sapiens sapiens or any hominids apart, is our curiosity, at least for some, will always override the desire to be safe and lazy and boring. Anyway, so could there be mermen and merwomen out there in pockets? 90% of the ocean, give or take, wherever you are, is unexplored. So if it was all mapped out and explored, even, I would say the people that doing it are lying anyway, but it isn't even. So you have to at least be open to the possibility that there could be, right? And then if you go back in ancient texts, just take Egyptians. They had these mashup of all these gods that were half this, half that, half this, half that. Now, was that just a genius way to get you to respect every single piece of life because every animal seemed to have like some god that represented it? Maybe. Or maybe this place, like a big thing that's emerged now is called dogmen, okay? And werewolves in Europe. But I'm going to mess the name up, but they're called the Cephacilium or something like that. I apologize for the murder of the name. But all the ancient texts, go back again, look at them in the ancient maps. There were humanoid figures with the heads of animals, of jackals, of dogs. What happened to all them? That was all make-believe on maps where everything else was real? Or was there a part of history that was erased? Now, if you want to get into what some real world reasons or what could a merman be, imagine coming to Florida and you cruising through and you see manatees. Just a manatee from the right angle, right time of day, you're not sure what it is, that could inspire tales of, like mere people. Or if you look at a beluga whale and you stand it vertically and you look at the way it looks like it has arms.
Well, so, isn't like, according to evolution, like mainstream biology, don't they say a whale is one of the closest things to a human?
Sure,
Didn't they say something?
Yeah, well, apparently we came out of the water, went back into the water. I mean, listen, it's a water planet. Although my son's very clever. He's like, what's there more, water or land? I'm like, well, it's a water planet, water. He's like, that's just on the surface there. And I'm like, well, if you think of it that way, then there is more land. But anyway.
The werewolf thing is interesting. But what's interesting about all these scenarios that you're mentioning is that, like, Bigfoot seems to be less, it seems less extreme to me than these other ones, because, like, you're merging animals together, whereas Bigfoot seems like it's just a relative that, went into the forest that kind of just...
Sure.
Because it doesn't seem far from human. Whereas werewolf, it's like you're merging now other species together. Mermaid, you're merging species. But,
it is like, Bigfoot is like, for a lot of people, is a merging of ape and human.
Yeah.
So it is a merging, but it's the easiest merge possible. Because genetically,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, we're so similar. But do I think they could exist? I remember this documentary came out years ago, and it was all about mermen and merwomen. And I didn't know it was a mockumentary when I first watched it, and I went, this is amazing. And then I found out it was I was like, dude, they proved it. They proved it over and over. So who knows? In the public sector, I think very few people are savvy to whether that is actually true or not. But in my very humble opinion, Jacques Cousteau was paid by world governments to go around and solve or at least document all these great mysteries of the bodies of water. And so he would know. He would know.
It's also interesting because, like, you know, we do a lot of weird things with our DNA and our bodies, and you know, the idea of vampires as well, right? It's like it's a bat mixed with a human. Would that be correct?
Yeah, it depends on which version, you know. Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're combining two different species, which is ironic. Most bats do not drink blood. So
but yeah, but like we also make it kind of sound like in a negative sense, where it's like, oh, the people in power, they're parasites or they're vampires, or because they, you know, they do this weird, crazy thing. Like, you know, is it like, why do we look at that in a perverted way? Because it's like not human. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, then what is human? It's like there's so many questions.
Yeah, well, it's scary, right? Like we've taken something that's horrible and horrific and combined it with romance, and because what is a vampire? It is an apex predator, and it is an apex predator among humans. So it is now a human apex predator that feeds on us, and we, as far as we know, nothing hunts us. You know why orca and wolves, they don't come after us if we kill something? Because they know we are vengeful. They know the wrath of humanity will come down upon them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's an allure to it, but it also represents our innate animalistic power. You know, Bram Stoker said the life is in the blood, right? So there's something about the blood. And if you want to like break down vampires, which is really interesting, I'm most likely going to be on History's Greatest Mysteries next year for talking about it. But if life is in the blood, what is a coffin? What could a coffin actually be that would enable extended life, also make you more youthful? And I have recently got into hyperbaric chambers. Look into hyperbaric chambers. Athletes, very wealthy people, they have them in their home. They use them to heal and to expedite healing. And if you were to spend prolonged time in a hyperbaric chamber, which has increased oxygen levels and pressure, atmospheric pressure on you, it will make you younger. It will help repair your telomeres on your chromosomes and actually give you more youthful appearance. Now, I don't know how long you would have to be or do it to truly regress and stay young, but I think it's that simple. So what are vampires? Vampires are people that slip into hyperbaric chambers, aka coffins, and go into a deep sleep until it resets them to our prime years, which is your years, Corey. So you're in your mid-20s, and then boom, then you come back out and you walk the world again and you relive again. I literally think it's that simple. It's just, how do we prove it, right?
Yeah.
How do we prove it? Now, to go back though, since come full circle to merman and merwoman, another thing, I believe in the wild imagination and the capability of the human species, of Homo sapiens sapiens.
Okay.
We are brilliant. And so people have probably heard the island of Dr. Moreau, okay, where they were doing experiments trying to make, you know, cat people.
How long ago was this?
Exact dates, once again, like I said, I'm not like super detailed unless I gotta spit it out for the show.
Sure.
But look up the island of Dr. Moreau. But it's not even that. I think the Egyptians were doing it, but they were just doing it with what they would have called more magic and sacred texts. But we're doing it with more science, but which ironically is based on sacred texts and everything.
Right.
So do I believe that we are capable of making human hybrids with things?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I think that also is something that comes into play.
Right.
And
like centaurs, you know what centaurs are?
Oh yeah.
Is that like a mix between like a deer or something
it's
like that?
Yeah, like a horse and a man.
There's so many examples of it when you start thinking about it.
So many examples, and they're all there. And are they all make believe, or were they based in facts at one point? Even like look up dragon. Go back. Once again, you have to go back to the old dictionaries, the old encyclopedias before they were rewritten, and they'll even say you can follow it through time, saying, you know, this large reptile, this large lizard, and then later on, 100 years later, it'll be like large lizard, now very rare, and it just keeps going until it became myth, right? So listen, until you learn to trust your gut, and then truly ask the universe for real mentors and real wisdom, I think it's easy to fall prey to the fact that, no, it's all bullshit. All of it. Everything, this Chipotle, the Kardashians, this vehicle, like, this is reality. This is all that's real. No, man.
Yeah, I was telling him, like, between all the variation that you see just in nature alone, there's so many different types of plants, so many different types of animals, and then the rarity of them, in finding out there's all sorts of ones that you never knew existed, and then the fact that you might know it exists and then you can't find it. Between all three of those, it's like, gosh, anything could be possible.
Anything's possible, and also,
wild.
when people say something is fully extinct, unless it is on a small little island that we have overpopulated and destroyed, they're still out there. There is a lot of wilds left, and I say that confidently, knowing that most people will never explore and never go where they need to find
How do we know if something's like truly extinct? You know what I mean? It's like,
we don't. And then there's finding people, you'll see things, the feel-good moments online where it's like, knew this just appeared after thought to have been extinct for 100 years and now it's back. And the thing is in all my travels, everywhere we went for finding Bigfoot and travel shows, we worked and found people on the edge. The hermits that live out in the land, and they just come in to have a few beers, get some supplies, and then get the heck away.
Yeah.
You ask them, they say there's no large cats here anymore. They just laugh. There's plenty. There's no bear. There's plenty. Once you stop being a speciesist and honestly buying into everything you've been taught and believe that just we're the smartest thing and there's nothing even compares, once you can move beyond that and see that all of nature is intelligent and their primary purpose is to survive so that they can pass on their genetic code, they are adept at hiding. And I can tell you stories of different animal species that aren't as intelligent as us that have found ways to thrive even in human populated areas. Wow. So we could have merman and merwoman right off the coast of Florida, and you wouldn't know. What's the first thing they do? They would come out at night. They would hunt and move at night, and then if they were in the day, they would have secluded areas with lookouts to make sure nobody comes. Because at the end of the day, you got to protect yourself, and everybody is fully aware that human beings shoot first and then ask questions and dissect later. That's how we roll, man. So
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing it. I hope this inspires you to get into the natural world and study from these animals. I'm learning so much just being with this guy over here, Ryan RPG Golembeske. So be sure to check him out online. And thank you everybody for watching. I do want to dive into maybe talking about morality in the human kingdom, and since we're talking about intelligence, so that'll be our next one. So stay tuned.